Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Blue Bud Wisdom Show, a podcast created to share simple tools to break you free from the mind chatter, reclaim your divinity, and support your journey to freedom and happiness. I'm your host, Ellyn Katherine, spiritual wealth catalyst and healer. Now let's jump into your dose of ancient wisdom. Hi everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1. I'm so excited to be back here again. I've been integrating so much of the shifts that have been happening over the summer and trickling into the fall. So, in Season 1, I spoke a lot about the light body. I spoke a lot about the life lessons and ascension. And what I want to talk about today is I want to give you a little bit of clarification on some of the things that I dabbled in the first season. Because I think it's important that we all know the meaning of what ascension is, right? Because you hear a lot of people talking in the spiritual community about we're ascending and we're shifting into 5D and we're, expanding our consciousness. And what it really means to ascend is to consciously step into a higher level of light. Because as I mentioned many times before, we are all divine beings. We're made of light. And when we come onto Earth or any other planet that has physical bodies, let's talk about Earth, we chose a physical body that is so dense that we forget our innate form. We forget who we really are. We get trapped into this matrix of separation. And the separation is just part of the whole game of being on Earth, of, remembering who we are. Can we go through this dense body and still be able to remember who we are? Even when we put all these different things in place to help us not remember. It's just like this experiment. I heard a lot about Earth being an experiment. I don't know much about it because that's not my expertise, but I can say from a lot of the research that I've done, a lot of the things that I've heard are the same, that Earth is just basically an experiment, and part of the experiment is having the illusion of separation. And we've gone through that for a long enough time where we are now getting out of this. The veil is thinner. And it's the Lightworkers' job, you can say, to help humanity help the humans remember who they are. We're not our bodies. We're not what we've been taught. We're not just going to die and never come back, right? It's not just go to work, live your life, get sick and die kind of lifestyle that most people are accustomed to. This is a very, very vast topic, but the gist here is, as a spiritual being, as a divine light being, we come here to experience life, to create whatever we can create, being as limited as possible. And now is the most crucial time for us, because we are now seeing the truth. We are learning that all the fear that has been created in this world has just been an illusion to keep us in this game of separation. We are learning that we are so powerful, that we have the power within ourselves to heal and to give us whatever we need to create a beautiful experience here. They call it heaven on earth. And you can say that. You can call it whatever you want, as long as you can recognize that you are a spiritual, divine light being that is just in a physical body. And this time now, as we are ascending, which, as I mentioned earlier, we are consciously choosing to be connected to our higher self. We're constantly choosing to step into the higher level of light. It's a personal choice, right? Because you have free will. You are able to either go this route and want to make, changes in your life that will support you in your journey to evolve, or you can choose to live the way you're living now. If you don't want a transformation, if you don't want anything to change, if you want to still, just go to work and live your life 9 to 5 and hang out with your friends and, do all these other things that brings you joy the way your life is now, then by all means, you have that choice. But from my experience, I know that even when I had that lifestyle, there was still something nagging at me. There was something that I felt like was missing. Something that was, no matter what I did, it was just not enough. And the reason why it wasn't enough is because I wasn't identifying with the truth of who I was. I wasn't recognizing that I was playing in this playground of 3D matrix and I had a higher purpose that I wasn't tapping into yet. But as I started to tap into it, my life completely changed. And yes, while I am a very spiritual person, I am also living my life dabbling through everything that I have created and learning to make a new route for myself. And that's what I want to teach you to do. So Ascension is choosing to evolve into a higher state of consciousness. And when you choose to evolve in a higher state of consciousness, you're basically allowing yourself to see all that there is, to see the truth, to identify your powers, to be able to make such a huge transformation within your body so that it can help shift humanity. It's such a beautiful thing if you want to look into it in that kind of sense, because now if you decided to come onto the earth plane to incarnate here on earth during this time, that means that you chose to take this huge step into helping earth shift, as well as be able to witness and of course be part of the transformation, but you get to witness this beautiful time in our history. Because this is massive. What's happening on earth right now is massive. We are dismantling all the fears, all the systems of control, all the things that you see happening in the news right now. You hear what's happening with the elections, all the things that are coming up with the corona, everything. These are just the symptoms of us breaking down these systems that are no longer serving us on this earth plane. It won't happen overnight. But the more you choose to ascend, the more you choose to evolve and to be the light in human form, the quicker it'll ripple effect to other people, so that those around us can start to be more spiritual and start to see the truth, and to start waking up to the truth of who we are and what we're so capable of doing. And within those capabilities lies the truth of how we can shift all this that's happening, how we can change our own life, how we can really make a huge difference in not only creating something better for ourselves, but collectively. That's how powerful we are. We haven't been taught this in school. We haven't been taught how to be in stillness. We haven't been taught how to activate the divine feminine within us. We've been taught to study, work hard, do whatever it takes to make your dreams come true. No one told us that if, hey, you decided this is what you want, and you had an intention, and you had connection to your higher self and were guided intuitively to do what you were supposed to be doing next, which is inspired action, things would have been so much different. But that wasn't part of the plan. That was not part of the plan. We were meant to be asleep for many, many years. We were meant to be asleep because this was part of the game. But now we're shifting out of this game. We are learning how to recognize and remember who we are. We are learning how to navigate being in a dense body, but with higher states of consciousness. And while this does take a little bit of practice, you have so many other light beings, angels, star seeds, or whatever other galactic beings that are always around, willing to help. You just need to ask. Now, asking is as simple as just speaking out loud. You can say, I'm calling in my family of light. You could say God. You can say angels, my guardian angels. If any family members that you had passed away, you could call on to them, and that spirit is going to be around you as well. They're in a higher state of consciousness at this point, so they are able to guide you and assist you. So what you can do is just request for guidance. Ask whoever it is that you're calling on to for help. Ask for that guidance in stepping into higher states of consciousness. Ask that whatever no longer serves you to be dissolved from your life so that you can finally move forward. But remember that they cannot do all the work for us, and we cannot spiritually bypass any longer if you have been. I know I have. I did for a very long time prior to me moving into this space. I thought I was doing a lot of work, but I wasn't. What it takes to actually get into a higher level of consciousness is to recognize, number one, that we are not separate. And that is difficult because we have been programmed to believe that we are. So just by being aware of that one particular thing, by remembering that we are not separate from God, we are not separate from each other, that we are all from that one source, divided into billions. We are all literally just one, but in individual dense bodies. Now, this, like I said, is a very, very vast conversation. It's something that I can't even explain. I think there are other people out there that can do a way better job in explaining how all this works. But what I do want to say is that as a person who has gone through, this cycle of releasing, and this cycle of, peeling the onion, as you want to call it. And the peeling the onion is the layers of all the stuff that has happened that our soul has been carrying for a very long time. When we peel the layers and we get into a different state of consciousness and we become the observer more and more and more, as we integrate more of our soul, our higher self, into the body, we begin to go through this up and down phase, the highs and lows. There are times where I do my own meditation that the light code activation. And when I flood my body with light, I literally feel high. The next day, I wake up really extremely high, happy, dancing around the house, whatever it is. Nothing and nobody can take that away from me because I'm so happy. I have so much energy. I can do whatever I want and not give a shit what people think. I'll be bobbing my head and moving around in the car while I'm driving, and I won't care what people are thinking of me, if they're looking at me through the window. And even in my house, if I'm dancing, I have these crazy moves that come out because I'm so in tune and so flooded with light that it's just me. I'm being authentic. And I'm sure if you've had that experience, you can also understand that as the body is assimilating this light, as the body is trying to anchor this light in, throughout the physical body, when we get through the next stage, we start to release more. And when we're releasing, what we're actually doing is getting into a state of low vibrational frequency, because the only way you can release it is if it is coming to the surface. So when it comes to the surface, you feel the negative emotions. You feel the low vibratory feelings. You can have anxiety. You could have anger. You can have sadness. You could have resentment, rage, envy, whatever feelings that you have. You can have doubt. You can have fear. But whatever emotion, whatever feeling is coming up after you've had these activations is the way it's going to be released. But not by trying to forget about it and suppressing it. That's spiritual bypassing. The way that you release it is by recognizing what you're feeling it in your body, right? Oh, I'm feeling this weird, sensation in my stomach. And that's where you can say, all right, this feels like it's anxiety. I'm nervous about something. Okay, I'm going to sit with this for a minute. I recognize that this is what I'm feeling right now. And without getting caught up in the story of why you're feeling anxious, or if there's something that all of a sudden you're nervous about doing, and you just, attach that to the story of feeling anxious, you may be creating more of that. But the way that you can allow it to come up is just by recognizing it and, speaking the words of whatever it is that you're feeling. Okay, this is anxiety. I feel it in my stomach. I'm going to sit with this for a minute, and just separating yourself from that. Separating yourself from the need to attach it to a reason, or the need to attach it to a story, the need to vent about it and make it into something more. Just by bringing awareness to it, it's already becoming a consciousness that you can release. And then easily, once you feel that, you can say, I feel this in my body. I recognize that this is what I'm feeling at this moment. You can call on to Grace Elohim. You can call on to the angels. You can call on to higher vibrational light. You can call on the purple flame, the violet flame, and just ask for it to be released. And that's a way that it's going to be released. What I want to say about this is, a lot of the times when we go through this, high and low phase as we're ascending and choosing to get into a higher state of consciousness, we also forget sometimes, because we can get so caught up into the low vibratory state. Once we got into the highs and lows, we can get so caught up into the lows that we can forget that this is coming up because we just did an activation, that this is coming up because, this is just part of the process. And then when we forget, we can start venting about it and talk to people about it. And the people that we end up talking to sometimes, they may not be at the same growth stage that you're in. And they end up telling you or giving you advice, because that's what people like to do. They like to just give advice. They may end up giving you advice, but it won't be the advice that you need. At this stage in your life, you need to be empowered in every step of the way. You need to be supported in every step of the way. You need that guidance, knowing that you are on the right track. This is normal. And look, you're surrounded by so many other people that are doing this with you. It's a community. And I'm really excited because that is exactly what I'm going to introduce now. I've created a community where you get to be supported every step of the way by me and by the other people in this group. Now, I created a community because I felt the importance of getting that guidance, especially when you can hit the lows and you get so confused and you can get sucked into that so easily, especially by listening to other people if they're telling you stuff that is not accurate. But because we are so used to living a certain lifestyle of going to other people for help or venting or needing guidance from somebody or needing that opinion or wanting help from somebody, but not getting the accurate type of guidance that we need or the advice that we need. Because we're so used to this type of lifestyle, I decided that having a community that's going to give you the empowerment that you need is way more substantial than just having my Goddess Unleashed game program. And part of this interactive community that I've created, I am actually going to be teaching the material that I was going to teach in the Goddess Unleashed game in that program. I'm doing this again because it's really important for us to continue our growth, to not feel like we're doing something wrong, because most of us can feel like we're doing something wrong. And, before I thought, oh, well, you get a community in the program. You get to just hang out with us for the 12 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever amount of weeks this program is going to be. But Ascension, it doesn't stop. It's an ongoing phase. And I'm not saying that you're always going to be the highs and lows, but as the beginning stages, especially when you're integrating your light body and when you are recognizing that, what it's like to be an observer, and you're recognizing all the life lessons, the ascension lessons that you're going through, having support is very, 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 very important. I can't even stress that enough. Having the right type of support from like-minded souls who want to continue their ascension, who want to continue to grow, who want to reach enlightenment and be able to live their heaven on earth in physical bodies, and be able to just create just a bliss in every aspect of their lives, then that's why having a community is important. Because we need to be around other people who are going in the same direction as we are, so that we can continue to be guided and supported and empowered, completely empowered. So I mentioned this already. I'm going to be doing the teaching. So the way it's going to work is every month there is a live, you can call it an educational talk, but there's going to be an educational series of talking about ascension, talking about one of the Ascension Gateway life lessons, talking about different spiritual awakening symptoms and what we can do, how we can integrate more of our light body, how we can get our physical body ready for this integration. There's so many different things that we're going to be talking about. So once a month, there's going to be a different topic. Then we're going to have a live Q&A. So we hop on to the video, and you guys get to ask me questions, and I'll answer them. And of course, if anybody else has the answer, they'll be able to answer them as well. Community, we all get to chip in. And then I'll be randomly choosing 2 to 3 people a month to be giving intuitive readings to. And then there's going to be behind the scenes whenever I'm going to have a guest interview on the Blue Blood Wisdom Show. You get to be with me live behind the scenes, where you get to ask us any questions that you may have regarding the topic that we're talking about. And this is not done with anybody. And when I do my shows, I don't usually have anybody on with me, because I do them randomly. I do them in the park. I do them whenever I want to. My first episode, I did it when I was on the trampoline jumping. So these are going to be special, because when I have the guest interviews, they will be scheduled, and you will be able to be live behind the scenes and able to ask any questions you want. So that's really super amazing. And the best part about this is the cost is really low. It's only $22, especially for founding members. I haven't thought whether I wanted to increase price yet, but I'm a very honest person. So I don't play the games of marketing. I don't try to make you want to come and stay. If you feel called, if you resonate with having an empowering, interactive support group that you will be able to grow with and really change your life, then I invite you to join this community. It's called the Ascension Gateway Circle, and I'll leave the link in the description. And I think that's all for now. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day or evening whenever you're listening to this. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at hello@Ellyn, Ellyn, Katherine with a K.com. I look forward to our next session, and I look forward to seeing you inside the circle. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining me this week on the Blue Blood Wisdom Podcast. Make sure to visit my website, EllynKatherine.com, where you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or via RSS so you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, be sure to take a moment and give me a 5-star rating on iTunes and share or tell your friends about the show. I'd love to share the wisdom further, and your help will make that happen. Be sure to tune in next week for my next episode.